quickly. It was a song project, and I had to use the words build, stabilize, and preserve.
All right.
So that's what I came up with.
Good job. Well, how many of you have ever been to our headquarters, Unity Village, near Kansas City? A few of you have. It's a great place if you ever get a chance to go there. The vibrations there are wonderful with all the prayer energy going on there. Well, of course, I started many years ago going there, and the very first time I was there, the very first book I bought at the village, I didn't have a lot of money, I was being cheap, okay? So I found this little book, but I was really attracted to it because it's a Stuart Wilde book. I don't know how many of you remember Stuart Wilde. He's English, he's funny, and totally irreverent, which is a wonderful combination. And the book is entitled, Life Was Never Meant to Be a Struggle. Never meant to be a struggle. And the beginning quote is, life was never meant to be a struggle, just a gentle progression from one point to another, like walking through a valley on a sunny day. Wow. Every moment of our life should be like that. Why isn't it? Why isn't it? I think it's because we just don't trust the roller coaster ride of life. And life can be a roller coaster, can it not? We don't even trust the company that made the roller coaster, so how can we trust the roller coaster? It's kind of like Alice in Wonderland. Whoever wrote Alice in Wonderland had to be smoking something, because going down that rabbit hole, all the twists and turns and craziness and chaos. But I think people related to the story because of all those twists and turns. You never knew what was going to happen next, what room she was going to go into next. Sometimes in life, that rabbit hole of duality can be pretty strange. I mean, when you go into a grocery store and you see a label natural or organic, do you really trust that? Not always. I mean, if you can't trust your bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich, how are you going to trust your life, right? Right? It's all about trust. And the key is that we have to trust the power of our consciousness within the one presence and the one power. The power of our consciousness. That life is the cause and effect of consciousness. And I would add our purpose for being here, because we don't really know why we choose to come, what we choose to work on, and why each experience is coming to us. But when we don't trust, and if we're into separation thinking, we can feel like the Course always says, and it's one of my great favorite lines of the Course, we feel denied, deprived, persecuted, and abused. You ever been there? Anybody been at one of those? I think I've been all four of those, off and on. And you look at kids, children are such great mirrors at how we do that. My sister Irene, you all know her, she's been here a few times, and she has two grandsons. One is Sam, he's older, and Simon is a younger one. And when they were kids, she told me this story about how they were in a room with all their toys, and all of a sudden Sam decided he got really afraid that Simon was going to take one of his toys. And so he picked it up and he ran with it. And of course Simon wasn't even paying attention to him until he picked it up and ran with it. And then of course he chased him wanting the toy. And we laughed at that because it's such a perfect expression of what we do to ourselves when we get into fear and separation thinking. You got it and I don't, you can't have it, it's mine. Don't we do that all the time? And that's where trust comes in. Back to basic Unity Principles 101. There is only one presence, one power, and we are all a part of it, and we live, move, and have our being in it. If you get that one, that's all you need. You don't even have to read another book or take another class if you really get that. God can solve any problem if we just give it to God. But we usually want three things, one of three things. We want immediate action. When I pray, I want it now, don't you? I don't want to wait 3 months, I want it now. And then I want it to turn out how I think it should be. Not the highest and best for me, but how I think it should be. And I always want God to fix it out there, rather than pointing to some of my inner issues. I really don't care to deal with them, thank you very much, but just fix it out there. So those three things, life is lived within and without, from within to without. And for some, distrust started when life didn't go as we planned. Anybody here have a life that went as you planned it? If you do, you come up here for a minute and I'll sit down and listen to you. Life just doesn't, there was an old joke, if you want to make God laugh, tell God your plans, And the trouble with that joke is, if we really believe it, we're stuck from the start, because we have to tell God our plans and then trust in the grace of God to get us where we need to be. And it may not happen immediately. We may have to go a lot of other places, deal with a lot of our stuff before it'll manifest. And that's the process where we really have to trust those twists and turns of life. And we've got scripture and all the stories, the great metaphysical stories of the Israelites. That I relate so to the Israelites as they were wandering in the wilderness. And it took 40 years, and they whined and complained and blamed Moses for everything. Can you relate to that? I can relate to that. They put their trust in fear, not God. They put their trust in appearances, not in the one presence, one power. And then when they finally did find the promised land, they finally made it to the promised land. And most of them said, there's giants there. I don't want to go in there. They're giants. Their fears had become so big that they were totally out of what they could deal with. Except for Joshua. He was the only one that said, I got this. I'm on it. I don't care. They're not giants aren't going to have any power over me. I'm one with the one presence and the one power. And he went in and took the promised land. Well, modern day, so that was then. What's modern day? Modern day, I think it shows up as frustration. I was in Walgreens one day, and the man in front of me wanted to buy some Twinkies. You all love Twinkies, right? Hostess Twinkies. And they were on sale. Hostess Twinkies on sale. You got to grab them. And he went up to the lady at the cashier, and when she put it through the register, it registered the full price, not the sale price. And he got so upset. Oh, he was mad. And I could tell that his anger was so much more than a box of Twinkies. I love when the Course says you're never angry for the reason you think you are. If he could deal with his trust issues, all those Twinkies would always be on sale for the right price. I realized as I was putting this together today, because I think now more than ever we have to go into the energy of trust. Now more than ever, no matter how it looks, we have to put our energy into trust. Not the outer. We don't trust the outer. We trust in the one presence, the one power, moving in and through all things. And I realized as I was trying to think, what can I tell? What can I talk about today? And I realized I can't convince anyone to trust. I've tried that with people. Trust, you got to trust. If you don't want to, it's a choice. And nothing I say here today is going to convince anybody to trust. But it is a choice. I can't convince you, but I can double dog dare you. I can double dog dare you to trust. So if you're really ready to trust, would you repeat with me? I choose to trust. Together? I choose to trust. And then you can say, I choose to trust the one presence, the one power. I choose to trust God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever you want to say, whatever you can put your faith in, higher self, universe, creator, being. I choose to trust. When we're watching the news, I choose to trust the one presence, the one power. When we're looking at our life, anything. When we're buying Twinkies, I choose to trust that cash register is going to show up right. Back to Unity Basic 101. The one presence, the one power, and we are all a part of it. And to tap into the power of the universe, we have to see ourselves as part of it rather than separate from it. I love Hopi, the Hopi tradition, and going up to the Hopi mesas. They have a legend of the spider grandmother. And the first thing she did was to spin the giant web that connected all things. They knew in their stories and legends, just like our stories and legends, they knew the deeper meaning. They knew the deeper meaning, the interconnectedness of us all. Remember the movie Apollo 13? It's an old movie. And the Tom Hanks character, and they were all stuck up in outer space, and they didn't think they were going to be able to bring him on home. And he started to tell a story within a story while they were stuck up there on that spaceship. And he told the story of back when he was in the military and he was on a flying mission. And while he was on this flying mission, the electricity in the plane went out. He couldn't see the instrument panel, he couldn't see where he was, he couldn't see anything. It was night, dark. He was in total darkness, no electricity on this plane. But all of a sudden he looked down, and there in the water, there was a blue-green algae that was luminous. And he followed the algae. Is it algae or algae? Algae. He followed it all the way home. And I thought, wow, if you really put your trust in the universe, there's always a way to guide us where we need to be. But we have to really trust that presence in the darkness. We have to know there's order in the universe. There's a reason for everything. And if we just trust the process, we're all interconnected and everything's coming up to be healed and all will be well. The universe conspires for our good. I love that saying. The universe conspires for our good. And trust is a choice. Let's say it again. Together, I choose to trust. One more time, like you mean it. I choose to trust. A couple of years ago, I did a series on the book, The Trust Frequency. The trust is a vibrational frequency that we enter. It was by Andrew Beale and Connie Marlowe. And they talked about how we live in a multidimensional parallel universes. And the parallel universes are right here among us, but it's like a fan blade. When a fan goes around real fast, you don't see the blades. So who knows how many parallel universes are right here in this room with us. And that when we get into trust, we start vibrating higher. And we go into this sort of parallel reality where things are better. Jesus called it the kingdom of heaven on earth. He said the kingdom of heaven is among you. You just don't see it because you're vibrating at the lower dimension of fear. When we're into fear, we just don't see it. When we move into trust, we're lifting our vibrations. In the book they said, trust is an elevated state of being where the soul's destiny awaits, with more abundance, balance, freedom, and joy than we can imagine. It's where the true universe is experienced. It is available to anyone, anywhere, anytime. We just have to move through those parallel universes. Fear is like waking up on the wrong side of the bed, and your whole day is off. Trust is like waking up in a parallel universe. Ooh, how beautiful it is today. How wonderful everything is today. I made a chart once of, the parallel universe of fear and the parallel universe of trust, the different vibrational states. And in the vibration of fear, we have scarcity, disease, competition and war, anxiety, chaos, a conflicted world. And in the vibration of trust, we move into abundance and wholeness and harmony and peace and joy and love. Ken Carey wrote the book, A Return of the Bird Tribes. It's an old favorite of Michael's. And he explained that love vibrates rapidly and fear has a slower vibrational rate. And those who channel fearful energies find that as time passes, the fear vibration grows heavy and depressing. Eventually it brings sleepiness, gloominess, depression, discouragement, despair. Where the love or trust vibration brings enthusiasm, energy, interest, joy, freedom. And it's a choice. Every day it's a choice. I can't make you, but I can double dog dare you. And I double dog dare myself right along with you. Connie and Andrew in the book of The Trust Frequency said there are 3 basic assumptions that take us out of trust. And the first one is that there's such a thing as scarcity or lack. The truth is, God is our source. Divine substance is all around us, and it's shaped by our consciousness. It's shaped by fear or by trust. So if we shape it with trust, we're going to be a lot happier. The second thing is competition and comparison. Oh, you got more than I do. I don't have it, you got it. I got to take it from you so I can have it. If they have, I lose. Competition and comparison. And the third thing is separation thinking. We fear those who are different. We judge, we project. Like Sam and Simon, we attack or defend, and we run from each other, and then we get chased by each other. Trust is a choice. And prayer and meditation helps us deepen that trust. Remember when Jesus said, all of the lilies of the field, they don't toil or work for it. They're just provided for. You look at nature. Do you ever watch a bee? Goes from flower to flower, and then all of a sudden when it's done, it takes a straight beeline to home, a beeline. How does it know where home is? You know, there's no direct signs that say, take a right at the pine tree. You know, they just make a beeline to home. Or the Aborigines in Australia, they're going on walkabouts, and they walk all over the desert. All of a sudden they find themselves home. No signs out there either, but they center, they connect. Moment by moment, what did Stuart Wiles say? Like a gentle progression from one point to another, much like walking through a valley on a sunny day. Oh, I wish I could feel that way all the time. I wish I could say I do. I'm working on it too. So try this on for size. How does this feel when I say this? Imagine if every day you'd learn to relax in every moment, listening deeply to the inner voice of spirit and acting on those inner promptings in a state of trust, with full confidence that everything is unfolding in perfect perfection beyond our wildest imaginings. Can you imagine how that would feel? And why do we call it the trust frequency? Why not the love frequency? Well, trust is an operative of love. It's the best connecting link. And when you're in the state of love, you're in the flow of your good. The book we're doing, Conscious Aging, this week said, life is more ambiguous, uncertain, and surprising than we could ever imagine. From this knowing, we can build trust and faith. We don't know what's around the corner. We could get attacked by roadrunners when we go out there. I've seen them, they're out there. And trust is like jumping across a gorge. You can't start the jump and then stop halfway in midair like they do in cartoons and say, oh, I gotta go back, I'm not gonna trust. You either do or you don't. And the gauge of how you know how much you're trusting is how much peace you feel. No matter what's going on, nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul. For I center and rest and trust in the one presence, the one power that we are all so much a part of. Trust me. Let us pray. God, we choose to trust. And we ask the Holy Spirit to assist us in releasing all fears and doubts, to assist us in centering so deeply in the power of the presence that all fear is dissolved and there's only strength and wisdom and love. And we walk forth into our lives confidently, knowing moment by moment, day by day, we are led to our highest good, through the valleys, through the twists, through the turns. On the roller coaster of life, we go wee, with joy, with faith, with trust. We will end up where we need to be, fully awake in the one presence, one power. And we are so grateful. We affirm this in the very nature of the living Christ within us all. And so it is, so it truly is. Amen. I'm thankful.